Welcome to Interval Drinks
with your tipsy thespian pals, Chris
and SLP.
I'm so happy to be talking about this musical.
Jesus Christ, superstar.
I love the Irish accent, but
Thank
why?
you. Because I'm pissed.
Oh, that's fine. Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice's sung-through rock opera, and in my opinion, Tim Rice's greatest lyrical
work. Yes.
That'll do. And we've also got an appropriate themed cocktail.
Oh, we do.
Yes, what are we calling this one?
The blood of Christ.
The blood of Christ. And can I bless you with my cross?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to bless you with my cherry, because as you know, I don't like...
Oh.
Hey, and I don't give my cherry away freely, you know.
I'll take
I
the
don't
cherry,
give my
Chris.
cherry to anybody. I'm going to pop that on there.
I can't get hold of mine. Oh.
Well, that's more than I needed to know.
Hang on, I'll drink it first.
Oh, gosh.
Oh,
that's gorgeous. It's like a... Ooh. Cherry, soursy, fizzy.
That's naughty. Barman, that's naughty.
It's heavenly though, isn't it?
It's heavenly.
You see what I did there?
The blood of Christ.
Right. So it was originally recorded as a concept album.
Yes,
and it was never really intended for the stage, was it?
They were told that, no, I think it was, but they were told it's not going to be. So then they resorted to making this concept album. And I've heard that the team actually then, you're kind of able to focus in and make the music quite streamlined throughout, focus in on that. And then they loved it. When they heard that, when the big Broadway producers heard it, they really loved it.
It's great.
And then didn't they make it into a Broadway like the following year?
Yes, so 1970 was the concept album, and in 71 it was the Broadway show.
Yeah, but they were originally told no one's going to want this, and so hence concept
Well, it was
album.
met, wasn't it, at the opening of Broadway with protesters and things outside. 'Cause obviously
not just at the opening; it's been ever since, hasn't it?
But they were told, give it chance.
Yeah.
And actually, more and more people have warmed to it.
I know.
Because it tells the story, of course, of the last 7 days of Jesus Christ.
Of the Passion, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely that.
No, I really love this show.
It's such a well-constructed musical, isn't it?
It is.
But do you know, it didn't win any awards.
I didn't know that.
Until 2016, when it won the Evening Standard Award for Best Musical Revival at Regent's Park.
Oh, right. But it didn't win anything in the first... Was that because it was too controversial?
I don't know. I mean, come on, there's been some really controversial musicals out there, like, that have won Best Musical at least, or Best Direction, or Best... You know,
that's something.
Have you seen the 1973 movie?
I've seen clips of it because yes, I know.
It's so bad that it's brilliant.
I know. So I did Jesus Christ Superstar. That was my last musical when I was at school.
Oh, wow.
And so we sort of studied it because I think my drama teacher wanted to really use that.
Was this at St Mary's?
No, it was at Hymas. Stop it! But it was an amazing production, and we used bits sort of taken from like 73, and the 2000 was the second film, wasn't it?
Right. Yes. That's right.
And so we used a bit of
again. It was that era of doing the kind of staged film versions.
Exactly,
which,
and I've seen the 2000 all the way through. I've seen clips of the early one, but not all the way through.
I mean, they basically arrived as like a hippie troupe.
Yes.
And they're staging it as a musical.
Yes. Yeah.
And then they pack up and just get back in the camper van and drive off at the end.
Amazing.
It's totally bonkers, but so 70s. It's unreal.
Very 70s.
It's
very, very stylized,
70s,
isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, incredibly hard to sing.
It is.
You talked in a previous podcast, can't remember what it was, but it's the Judas and Jesus tenor off.
It is. Absolutely is. They're both such extreme parts, and of course, you see a lot of young tenors, especially trying to sing Gethsemane, and that's just like a go-to. You know, I need to get that in my repertoire. But it's a beast, Chris. It is an absolute beast, and Heaven on My Mind is just ridiculous.
Yeah, but you've got to have a Judas that can act as well, haven't you? Essentially, because he's an integral player in the whole thing. Well, certainly in the first half.
He is. Well, I mean, I would sort of argue that we're essentially seeing it through his eyes, aren't we? Because a lot of productions kind of make Jesus out to be a bit of a dick, really. Yeah, I can't believe Jesus called me a dick. That's but yeah, and he really can come across as very, very cocky. But then, of course, I think it's because we're deliberately seeing it, or at least the first half, like you say, through Judas's perspective.
And I like it because it's short. It's not a long music.
It's not that long at all.
It's quite short, 45 minutes an act.
Yeah.
And it's currently on tour, or it's coming on tour.
Yes, I'm going to see it. I'm going to see it.
In October. I've played...
King Herod.
How did you know that? I was going to try and make a guess what part I played in this, and yes, it was. It was Herod. And the director of the time had this... I don't know, it was a really interesting idea of setting the Herod scene in Harrods.
What?
So Herod was Harrods, and the big Harrods sign came down, and we were in the Harrods shop, and it was, instead of Harrods, it was Herods.
Herods.
But it was quite a nice little...
That was really cute.
Nice little idea.
I like that. Well, of course, on the 2012 Arena tour, there was Chris Moyles as Herod, and they really played on his being a radio DJ kind of thing. And so they had, is he the Lord or is he a fraud kind of thing? And they had almost, not an audience interaction, but as if there was a phone number to ring in with and stuff like that. So it's one where you can really make it how you
can make him menacing, you could make him camp, you could make him a showman. Rick Mail does a good job in the staged film production.
Absolutely. How did you play yours, out of interest?
Oh, God, I was camp as tits, darling. I was camp as tits.
So I've seen you be quite scary as well.
I came on in a traditional robe, and as the Herod sign come down, it attached to my costume, and then the traditional robes came off, and I was in a tuxedo with sparkly...
Of course you were.
Glittery tuxedo.
If there's a video of that anyway, I would love to see that.
I'm sure there is somewhere,
but we're not sharing it on social.
But back to that iconic arena tour. Then, when Webber was kind of promoting it, he said that this is how they actually intended it to be, as a rock concert.
Yes.
Rather than...
With sort of minimal staging and things like that. And
rather than a musical, more of a rock concert version, and going back to that idea of the concept album that they created back in 1970. But again, there's so many powerful songs that are so emotive. And we were singing, weren't we, just before we started recording, Could We Start Again, Please?
I love that.
What a beautiful song.
It is, it's so beautiful. There are a lot of songs with a lot of heart in this.
Yeah, there really is.
And it's sort of, it really, I really like their ability, particularly Judas and Jesus. They get a lot of very high arguing against each other. Exactly. Anything you can sing, I can sing higher. And just and they really, and it really ramps up the energy. And then you get, don't you know everything's all right? Yes. And it's just, real ups and downs, isn't it? And
I wonder,
in energy and stuff.
I wonder what Webber's favourite show of his that is composed.
Oh, what out of what? Well, we've already spoken a little bit about that, excuse me, that we're both Lloyd Webber fans. I'm much more, I really like his classics, the old ones. I'm not as keen on his newer stuff.
Although I did adore Cinderella.
Yes, I need to give, and I do need to give them a proper chance. And like School of Rock, I know that that's become very popular, but again, I really love the film, and so I'm like, is the music going to ruin it?
Stuff is where your heart's.
And so,
I get that.
Yes, but I think that would be really interesting to hear himself as well.
Because Jesus has got to be up there, right?
Surely, that amount of having a work that's that controversial, you need to be able to really stand by it, don't you?
Absolutely.
And really support it. And, I don't know, I'd be really interested. I wonder if he's ever said what his favourite is.
I don't know. When he was doing those kind of lockdown things in his home, playing the piano, he did a lot of Phantom, and I wonder if that's
what he's
most proud of.
Yeah.
But to me, it's Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah.
And then it'll probably be Jesus Christ Superstar, and then it would probably be Phantom.
Yeah.
And then it would be Evita.
Gosh.
And then
Starlight Express.
And all of them, everyone. Just give me more Webber. He's just incredible.
Yeah.
And
Cats.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Did we say Cats? Sorry.
Yeah. No, I didn't say Cats, but I should have said Cats because we love cats.
Meow.
We adore cats.
We do love
We've touched on a lot of Webbers, haven't we?
We have.
Podcasting.
We have. We've touched a lot of Webber,
We've
a
talked
bit
about
of Schwartz,
Cats, we've talked about Phantom.
a bit of Sondheim.
Yeah, and now
we need
Jesus
to cast
Christ
on
Superstar.
further. We've got a lot of varied episodes coming up there, haven't we? We've got our list that we're sort of chipping away at. We've got some more Sondheim. We've got some Styles and Drew.
Oh, we have.
We've done some Canner and Ebb, haven't we?
Yes, and also this might be a good time to promote our live event.
Oh, yes,
where we're going to be performing live.
Yes.
And it's not just going to be a podcast. There's going to be 2 podcasts that we're going to be performing as part of that live event, where we will talk about two essential pieces of musical theatre.
Essential.
But there's also going to be quizzes and games and
bingo and a bit of karaoke, because we're in Vox Karaoke Bar.
There's going to be all sorts of games and madness and cabaret and performances going on. Sunday the
13th of August.
Yes.
We're going to be pushing the advertising soon.
Yeah. So please get your names down, make sure you book your tickets, because it's going to be a sellout, because after all, it's you and I.
Yes, indeed.
And you are a sellout.
No, let's...
but anyway, yes, back to Jesus Christ.
What was I going to ask you? So, I mean, we know that this is obviously very, very controversial, as we know, but I didn't quite realise the extent of the divide it created, because, of course, it was told that there's the worst idea in history, how dare you able to sort of do this? And there was, like, proper protesting and things like that, and it was banned in a lot of countries and things like that. But I tell you what, so that was of people getting at it. There were quite a few organisations who actually then came and really rallied in support with it, including, this blew my mind, the Vatican Radio.
What?
The Vatican radio station, like, regularly played the entire concept album.
Wow.
And sort of came out of saying, this is a work of considerable importance.
Powerful piece.
It is, and what a powerful
Christianity
station to do that.
Absolutely, it's a wider audience.
And so I'm really glad that it wasn't just people sort of...
Eat your words.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, no, we feel strongly enough about this work that we want to not even just sort of say passively, oh no, but it is good actually, or it's a fair... They went went that extra mile. Yeah, they spread the word.
The piece. Yeah.
Exactly, active allies, which I thought that was really, really cool.
That's amazing.
Good on you, Vatican.
Well done, Vati.
Good old Popey babes.
Yep.
Popey baby.
Slip concept album under my tree. Where is it going?
Oh dear. Similar to, what's this show called? We covered it a few weeks ago. What's it called? Lost in the Wilderness.
Children of Eden.
Children of Eden. Similar to, I'm pissed. Similar to Children of Eden, I would argue that this isn't a religious story. I feel that this is about power, and it's about rebelling against the political enforcers.
I think you're right, and especially
political
with
activism. It's not actually about.
Yes,
I don't know.
I think there's some that. Okay, so if you're talking about the staging of this particular piece, there are some people that bring it into modern times with kind of like the angsty Jewish Palestine fraughtness. I saw a production of this quite recently at the Hull New Theatre by one of the amateur dramatic groups who set it more traditionally, which was quite nice, because that's not been done for a long time.
I like it when
And what I liked about that is when they killed Jesus off and they crucified him on the cross, the curtain came down.
Right.
And they didn't do a curtain call. They didn't do a bow.
So you're just left with that image?
Yes. So that came on, house lights came up, and everyone was like, wow. And I think the director of that particular musical thought, well, that's it now. That's the end. Yes. And he shouldn't then jump off the cross and all of a sudden
Yeah.
It's interesting spin on it.
Well, I remember, sorry, part of the, adding on to that, part of the outrage against this was, and there was some sort of high up religious people who were sort of leading this, if you like, saying that a vital part of the Passion story is the resurrection. And if you're not showing the resurrection, then that isn't a Christian story. And something like that. And I thought, well, that's interesting to say that you kind of, it's almost like you can't have the setup without the result. So what you're saying, there should be a
Jesus Christ Superstar 2?
I wouldn't say no.
Well.
Jesus Christ Superstar 2.
I enjoyed Love Never Dies.
Maybe I don't want to think of it as a sequel. But is it a valid point? Is it not? It's kind of like, well, it's telling the story, it's just choosing to stop at quite a poignant part.
Yeah, it is, but I think they're very clear in that this is the last 7 days of Jesus' life.
It is.
So the fact that we know the story that comes after, does it need to be told?
Well, if you do the resurrection, then that's then a whole other chapter.
And we've already said
literally.
we like Jesus Christ himself because it's short.
Yes, exactly.
You know,
yeah,
we don't
I quite like
a
it.
new can of worms, and then because there's all that thing about what happened to Jesus after the resurrection. You know, maybe it's worth exploring, but just as a totally different musical.
But I don't think it's fair for that critic to have sort of said that, but because you've left out that vital part, therefore it's not the Christian story. And it is. It's just not telling it up to that point.
Yeah.
It's telling it that way.
Absolutely. What we're going to do is start from the beginning in the Old Testament and work our way through the...
In the beginning.
She goes again. But no, I think it's a really good achievement of a Weber and Rice collaboration. And there are so many great versions of it out there. What's your favourite version? Do you have a favourite?
The version that I was in at school. No,
Primus College. Yeah.
In fact, I was trying to remember who I was. I was a double role in that, and I was Simon the Zealot.
Yes.
So, Jesus.
Yes.
On your side, that whole thing.
Christ, what more do you
exactly.
need to convince you?
I really enjoyed doing that one. And Annas. So, and quite a few of us were double cast, if I recall, and that we had two very opposing people to play it, which is something that I'm going to get onto later. But my favourite version, I did actually vibe a lot with the 2000 film version to watch that, but I really, really enjoyed the arena tour.
Did you? Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. It felt very natural's the wrong word, but it, like you said, it's sort of like Andrew said that it was always meant to be like that. It felt
to be
right.
that way.
Yeah, it felt very, very right to be like that.
I've got an impression.
Go on.
Would you like my Caiaphas impression?
Yeah. Oh, please.
We need a more permanent solution to our problem.
Oh my God! I love that.
Yeah, me too.
I love you had to properly sit.
I did. I had to really get
Let's
into
expand
it.
the diagram as much as we can. Oh my God, I love
amazing.
that. Would you do Caiaphas?
I think I would. Yeah.
What's the real whatever it is, the very, very bottom note that he does? Can you reach that?
Yes.
Can you?
Well, I am a bass.
But I know, but he's like a super bass.
I'm trying to think what.
It's like a bottom C sharp. I think it's a C sharp 2 or something like that. Great. Yeah, you hide. Great.
I've got it. I've got the part. So we were talking about Vox Box karaoke songs.
Yeah.
And of course, I would love to do Herod with a tap dance.
Yes.
I included a tap dance in the.
Of course it is.
But I wouldn't mind giving a go, giving Pilot's Dream a go.
Yes.
I dreamed I'd met a Galilean, a most amazing man.
I'd love that actually. That's quite a point.
He's a tunesmith, and as I said earlier, I think this is Rice's best work.
Yeah, I really like, because I think Mary Magdalene is a tricky one for this, because I remember one of my first piano books that I ever got when I was a young snippet of a
when
thing,
I were a lass.
When I were a lass, and I got Andrew Lloyd Webber like easy piano kind of thing, and it had some of the big tunes, but it had I Don't Know How to Love Him, and that's consequently it's in all the songbooks for Andrew Lloyd Webber. You know, it's such a famous tune. But it's a bit like Memory, actually. I find that one overdone quite a lot by people who aren't really truly aware of what they're singing.
What they're singing about.
Exactly.
They're singing it as a standalone number, which taken out of context is fine, but in order to perform it...
They're not singing it with the heart.
Yeah, you need to
with that proper confusion that she has at that point.
Underneath the skin of the character. Massive confusion.
Massive confusion. And I really, really like that song, but it's not for karaoke bar, I think. I'd probably want to do Superstar.
Ooh.
I'd love to do Superstar. With all the dancing girls behind me as well.
Absolutely.
Would you be my dancing girl?
Absolutely, I'd be there with bells on.
Yes, from your box of hats and things like that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Bells and whistles. I've got a question. Who is right? Jesus or Judas? Who do you lean towards in this?
Jesus.
Do you?
I do. And for all intents and purposes, the whole story surrounding the life of Jesus is perfect, isn't he, essentially? Christians believe that he is perfection.
They just follow him no matter what.
I understand why Judas did it, but also, again, he betrays him with the kiss and then stabs him in the back. And and Peter denies him 3 times.
Yeah.
Are they friends? Is that what friends do? I don't know.
But it goes beyond that, doesn't it? I've never agreed with Peter. That's always one that I'm always a bit like. I can't find a way to portray Peter nicely, but Judas, weirdly, I think you can really see why he's led there, and you can really understand. Understand why he's so like. What are you doing?
Yes.
To Jesus in the beginning, isn't he? And
but what Jesus is doing essentially is fighting for what he believes.
Yes, that's true, and it's just not necessarily going the way that Judas wants it to. Because and he is kind of, and especially pretty much the whole of heaven on the minds. He's kind of singing it as this third party, sort of stalking around. He's always on the edge, isn't he? Yeah,
but what you've got to think about as well is the Jews at the time were very oppressive. They were oppressing that kind of conformity, and
I'm not sure. I've been having a think, Chris, about if we were to put on yet another of our dream productions in this, because this I feel that could be very, very artsy, and we could really sort of say things. We could really create our own interpretation of this. So I've got a couple of points that I want to like propose to you and see whether, because you are the director in my eyes, right?
Wow, now I'm nervous.
Okay.
Now I'm nervous.
Don't be nervous. So the first thing, and it's with something we've already touched on, is the sort of setting. And I don't think I would want this in a theatre. I think I would want it in somewhere like a nightclub.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And for it to be quite minimalistic, so it's more about what they're saying than...
More about the performances and the music, of course.
Yes. Rather than
the staging.
Look at our lovely scenery and that tree over there and things like that. And I know that often has like a very, very important place, but I feel in this,
Is that why you're more drawn to the arena tour then? Because it is a little bit less staged
I think
and more about the...
I think probably right, yeah.
Because they do, what do you think of Mel C's Mary Magdalene?
I wasn't in love with it.
Yeah,
I wasn't in love with it. She was on the audition panel though for Ben Forster, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So I wonder, was she must have already been
precast,
already like involved in things like that. But I think I think she was fine. I wasn't blown away. Loved Tim Minchin. Loved him. I thought it was really.
He's suited, isn't he?
I thought, yeah.
There's many strings to that guy's bow.
I know. When I first saw that he was going to be doing it, I was like, what? And in fact, when was Matilda written? Was this pre-Matilda?
This was was it pre-Matilda? Yes, I think it was pre-Matilda.
I presume it was already in the works, maybe, but I think it was before.
I'm trying to think about when I went to see Matilda.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, come on, a comedian, an actor, a musician, and a composer of 2.
I know. Yeah.
Phenomenal musicals.
He's brilliant, and I felt he was very well matched with Ben. I felt that they really
worked in sync.
They did, really, really well. So yes, nightclub is my first thing, with the audience somewhat scattered around, so you can kind of really feel immersed in the space.
Almost like a promenade piece.
I think
the actors are walking around.
I'd quite like that.
Or the audience kind of.
Audience probably. Well, I suppose it depends whether you want to like draw them into the action and things like that. I'm not sure.
That'd be really interesting in the. Heal mine eyes, I can hardly walk.
You know what I mean? So it almost feels like they're being reached for.
Or even in the market where it's like, come on up Jerusalem, here it is.
That would be really cool. Now, I don't know if this is the right word, but choreography leaning more towards like stomp than choreography.
Right,
I know I might be saying that wrong, but you know what I mean? So everything to be quite raw and quite
gritty.
Yeah.
So you're going modern.
Yes, I suppose I am. But I want it still set in I don't know. I've just said I want it in a nightclub. I don't really know. This is why I need a director.
But this is like a kind of worms, isn't it? Where you're exploring, and exploring is fine. Some of the best directors in the world allow the actors to come up with and create things.
Maybe I'm one of the best directors in the world.
Matthew Bourne, a perfect example of that in his choreography for Swan Lake and others,
Yes, that's
where
true.
he will get the dancers, he'll tell the dancers the ideas, and
That's true.
the dancers will then create his vision.
It all comes from that together. And the last thing is that Mary Magdalene to be a trans woman.
Oh.
Now, we had a brief discussion about this with Little Shop, didn't we?
Oh, with
about
Audrey.
And I think this would just be a perfect place for this to happen, because Judas has to sort of even say to Jesus, you can't be, I've forgotten the actual quote, but you can't be with the woman the likes of her. kind of thing. And of course that's to imply her profession, isn't it?
Yeah.
But actually,
and we're in 2023 for fuck's sake.
Exactly. And I think it would just really work to have a trans woman.
I think the protesters might have something to say about that, but
probably. But
us as
we'll get it on the Vatican radio. It's fine.
inclusive individuals, we could make that work.
I think that would be.
I will get it on the
powerful
Vatican
thing.
radio.
Yes,
I love that.
We'll just ring up the Pope. Do all that. I've really loved talking about this one with you.
Me too. It's been amazing.
It's really, really good.
And I'd love to cheers my cocktail with you, but I've drank it because it was so tasty.
Cheers,
but I'll give you a cheers with my lovely vodka and tonic, courtesy of the Vox Box on Newland Ave.
Jesus Christ.
Superstar.